time for your weekly dose of pop culture
with Kathy and Kenny. Welcome to the show.
Hello and welcome. It's time for another episode of Kathy and Kenny Explain Pop Culture as we begin our first show of 2021.
2021.
Hi, I am Kathy Walker.
I'm Kenny Walker.
And usually I'm the one pulling all like the levers, like the person behind the scenes and changing the pictures. And what are you doing?
I'm trying to turn my phone down. Okay. We're good.
Kitty follows along on the phone. It is yet another episode of Kathy and Kenny Explain Pop Culture coming to you live from Facebook as well as YouTube. You can find us on YouTube over at K-Walk Comedy, which is my channel on YouTube, or our own channel. Kathy and Kenny Explain Pop Culture is our Facebook page, and you can find us there. And we thank you for being in the room. Happy New Year to our cousin Letta. Happy New Year to you. And I don't know whether our fact checker and resident pop culture kid, Ed Brown, is in the house tonight. But if you are Ed, I need you to shout out whether you got your shirt, because you should have gotten your shirt.
I got my shirt. See, I got my shirt.
Lisa, your shirt and your mug is coming. But because again, with the holiday mail stuff, did get backed up, but it has all been shipped out of here. It is not in here.
I got my shirt, and I had my jacket on earlier.
I got on my Brooklyn shirt, and I don't even have on my pop culture shirt.
I got my pop culture shirt on.
Okay, you know what? Then I'll let you talk a little bit, but before you get into the details, and I'll go put my pop culture shirt on.
Okay. Well, I'm talking. Oh, hey everybody, how you doing? Today's show is about memorandum of remembering the people we lost, the celebrities and the public figures that we lost in 2020 with a lot of things going on. So we're going to be doing that today. And that's going to be our show. And we're going to get everything together. We get everything ready. And we're going to talk about the people. Now, what I want you to do, though, if you know, is we got a big list here. We probably won't be able to get to everybody, but if you have, you know, instead of calling out the names of the people who passed away, because we'll eventually get to them, when we do talk to people. Now you got your shirt on, okay? When we do people, if you have any fond memories of any TV show you like they were on, or any sports event they did, or whatever this public figure did that you like, if you mention those in the comments, we would greatly appreciate it. We'll probably try to get to as many people on this list as we can. We have a very long list. So we might not get to everybody, but we'll try to get the more prominent ones that kind of resonated through 2020. You know, Kathy, I was thinking I want to do something for the fans. I'm trying to figure out how I could do something on a daily basis for our pop culture kids.
For the pop culture kids.
I'm trying to give something away for the pop culture kids. I need to find out what I can give away to them. But you know how I do
in the comments what they want.
Okay, what do you ask? Because you know how we do. You know how if you go to our Facebook page, you have the on our Facebook page, Kathy can explain pop culture. I do the random movie quotes, and I'm going to start doing those every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I guess every Wednesday for the person who guesses the random movie quote, because the Wednesday one is going to be the hardest. Whoever guesses on the Wednesday, I'm going to try to figure out a prize for that person. It could be just a picture.
You're working on a prize for the person who guesses the Wednesday random movie quote.
Yes. We're working on a prize for the person who guesses the Wednesday random movie quote on our Facebook page.
Okay. And again, on that Facebook page, we are on Facebook. And again, if you search on Facebook, Kathy and Kenny Explain Pop Culture, you should find our page. Be sure to kind of sign up for it there. And oh, wait, it says the live has ended. Oh, that was last week's live. But you can find some of our shows in there. As well as Kenny's random movie quote, which this particular one, he gonna cry in the car.
He gonna cry in the car.
He gonna cry in the car.
That was an easy one. But
you know, I don't think I got this one One never knows, do one? I never
One never
know.
knows, do one. That is Fat Swaller and Stormy Weather.
Ah, stormy weather. But anyway, visit the page and check that out and look for those movie quotes on Wednesday. Kenny is going to overshare.
We should tell, real quick before we start our memorial list, I'm going to tell you how the movie quote thing started.
Oh, gosh.
Back in the 80s, when Kathy and I were both in college, and at one point she lived in, even when she wasn't in college, I don't think, when she lived in New York, and I was in college, and we would call, this is back with answer machines, when you had to go home, and you didn't have cell phones, but you had to go home and answer your answer machine phone, because that's the only way you could call people. Anyway, Kathy and I would leave movie quotes on each other's answer machines. And when you get home, you can call a person back once you figured out the movies that they had quoted. So we've been doing this since the 80s. So we've been doing this for like 30 years. So now we're going to share our game with you. And we're going to do a quote on Monday. We're going to do a quote on Friday. But on Wednesdays, that's the hard quote. And the first person who gets it on Wednesday, we're going to figure out a prize for them.
All right. That sounds like a cool deal. We'll figure out a prize for him. Um, and also for those of you who won prizes already of our Pop Culture Kids shirts, which again, basically it says Pop Culture Kid, and it gives a definition: one who knows music, movies, television, games, trivia, stuff.
Stuff.
We urge you to take
Stuff.
a picture of yourself in your pop culture uh, gear and post it on like Instagram or Facebook. Hashtag. What hashtag do we want? Do we need a hashtag or
Hashtag, I don't know, pop culture kid? I don't know.
okay? Hashtag pop
Pop
culture.
culture kid. Yeah,
Pop,
hashtag pop culture
pop
kid.
culture with a K.
Culture with a K.
Is that what
PKK.
PK? Yeah.
PKK.
Hashtag pop culture kid. So
There you go.
so
I want to give a shout out to Cheryl, who's listening to us from my page. How
shout
you
out.
doing, Cheryl? Who did that power walk with me this afternoon, and now my legs were nice and, you know.
Awesome. You know what? For the list, what do you want? Do you want to start out with others, or do you want to start out with politics? Or and usually I have like a bunch of pictures, and I don't have pictures tonight, so we're just gonna kind of ride the chill bus and talk about some of these legends. I
Yeah,
do
let's
want.
start. Let's start with political figures. That's a short one right there. Let's start with political figures.
Oh wow,
We're not going to get
I have no
everybody. So
pictures.
some people,
Huh?
there's some people we miss. I can't. And this is not a. We know these people passed away. We're going to not try to make this a depressing thing as much. So, not that we're going to have fun with this, that the fact that these people passed away, but you know, um,
I think you know what, Kenny. I think the thing is, when you're talking about when you like in memoriam, and I know on like the Oscars, they always have somebody come out and they sing this really sad and really depressing song, and they show you pictures, and you think the fond memories. We wanted to just go through the list to remember and honor those lives, and maybe talk about some of the uh,
contributions that they've done.
contributions they made to pop culture or things that we remember and things that we want to
I mean,
celebrate.
we can have a sad song. There's been a long way around you, my friend, and I'll never be till I see you again. Okay.
Oh, I sound far away. I don't know why I'm having so many mic
Who
problems.
said you sound far away?
Letta says I sound far away.
Letters there? I didn't see that. I didn't see a
Yeah,
comment.
she said I sounded far away, so I need to hug
Okay.
up onto the mic. I think I sound
Okay. Let me
fine,
see.
but I'm in here by myself, so
Oh, there's comments. There's Letter. There's Cheryl. There's Dad. Okay.
okay. Oh, you know what? I'm
I'm in
just
the house. Of
I'm
course
just
you're in
being
the
really
house.
spazzy and
Uh,
not putting them up. So we want to say Happy New Year, Letta.
Yeah.
Happy
Happy
New
New
Year,
Year.
Cheryl. From the walk this afternoon, and I sound far away. I will try to get up on the mic.
And,
So
and, and Dad, of course you're in the house. You're right upstairs from Kathy. Of course you're in the
okay,
house.
thank you. All right.
Okay, so Emma, so let's start with political figures first. We had David Dinkins.
Oh, yes, and actually, he was the mayor of New York during the time that I actually lived in, New York
Dinkins.
City. So, David Dinkins, I definitely had him down
Actually,
on the list.
he was mentioned in a Tribe Called Quest song. Can I kick it?
Can I kick it?
In a tribe, they mentioned Dinkins in the Tribe Called Quest song. Can I kick it?
I'm sure he was mentioned in some other songs, we probably just don't know the name.
Well, Tribe Called Quest. Once you mentioned in
Just
the
know the
Tribe
Tribe
Called
Called Quest.
Quest song, you mentioned Tribe Called Quest song. That's pretty much it. Herman Cain, who passed away from COVID,
Oh, yes. Mhm.
which is so ironic. So let's move on to.
That is just that's just wrong.
It's a little ironic that he passed away from COVID, but it is what it is. And we're going to move on to Ruth Bader Ginsburg,
Ruth Bader, the notorious
the notorious
RBG.
RBG. Yes,
RBG.
notorious RBG. I know I remember the day she passed. Um, she was one of those people where a lot of people were very sad about that. I remember my friend Sophie, who one of my best friends, Sophie, um, who was just like totally torn up in tears that day because Ruth Bader Ginsburg stood for something, and it was something that a lot of women they felt the loss in it, and then having her out of the Supreme Court left a hole that was surely needed to be filled. And I just want to say I feel ashamed that her last dying wish was not honored the way it should have been honored, but it is what it is.
It is what it is.
You
Yes,
know,
Ruth
it
Bader
is what it
Ginsburg. I
is.
think that as far as in the political realm, that death hit a lot of people, and again, what she stood for. Did you, by any chance, see the movie about her? Um, I forgot the title now. I can't think of the title. Uh,
Notorious RBG?
huh?
The Notorious RBG?
Well, no, not the documentary. There was actually
Oh,
a
yes, there was a movie. I did not see the
biop.
movie. I did not see the movie. Did you see the movie?
I didn't see the movie, and now I'm feeling like totally illegitimate as a pop culture. God, I can't even think of the name of it. Why can't I think of the name of it?
I don't know. If anybody knows the name of the
See,
movie
Ed in
about
the house. You know what? I didn't send Ed a shirt, and now Ed he's going AWOL. Maybe he didn't get his shirt yet. Maybe
maybe
that's
the
why
shirt
Ed's
is,
boycott until he gets his shirt.
yeah, it's like them cats that see my shirt. I ain't listening no more. Damn it.
Uh, it's not
Anyway,
a documentary though. What is it?
yeah, it's not a documentary, but if anybody knows the
On
name
the
of Ruth
basis of sex.
on the basis of
On
sex,
the basis of sex. Booyah! I got it.
that's okay. Good, good. So okay, and now we have a very prominent figure in political history, Mr. John Lewis, who passed away.
John Lewis, yes, and um, C.V. Vivian also was a civil rights leader who actually died on the same day, and I think because he was from
Yes.
Virginia, but I don't think his death got a lot of attention because it's kind of like Michael Jackson, Farrah Fawcett. It's like when famous people kind of die on the same day.
Yeah.
I guess people can only look in one direction,
Why
but
you kill? Why you killing off the One Direction guys?
I am not killing off the One Direction guys. Wait, oh, I love One Direction. They killed themselves off though. I didn't really think I was going to be a One Direction fan, but you
uh,
know what? I actually am a One Direction fan, and who would have known?
okay, so let's move on to comedians.
Oh, okay. You want to move on to comedians? Of course you do, because I don't have any comedian pictures loaded. Go ahead.
What would you have loaded?
I, I told you I didn't load any pictures tonight.
Okay, well,
I'm just
okay, well,
I'm
we
just
all
in a
know,
really bad place.
we all know Jerry Stiller
I
from a
was
lot of.
editing videos, so I've been editing my videos.
You've been working all day. I have not. I've been traveling. I've been taking exercise walks and catering to Olivia Marie's needs. So
Okay. How's Olivia Marie doing?
Olivia Marie is doing just fine. She's the daughter that I go out with, and everything I do is embarrassing. So I really can't do anything.
because
I'm really not allowed to talk when I go out with her.
Mila were adorable. So
yeah. Oh yeah. Milo is just adorable. Getting into good trouble was something. Was something John Lewis said he did. It was a good thing. Yes, getting into good trouble.
good trouble.
I want to shout out to Annette Price who's listening also to us. Annette, how you doing? Thanks for listening. Thanks for coming in. Yes, good trouble. Good trouble, John Lewis. When we talk about comedians, let's start with Jerry Stiller, who was on what show was that on? King of Queens?
Oh no, Jerry Stiller was Festivus for the rest of us. He played the he was on King of Queens, but he also
I
played
think
the
so.
father on George Costanza's father on
Yes, on Seinfeld.
and especially the Christmas holiday. He was the one who came up with Festivus, which is funny because last week on Pat Flynn's income stream, the secret word or the word he had to work in every day was Festivus. So
See, you know what? Guys like there's another gentleman on our list at the top of our list that we're going to get to, but guys like him and Mel Brooks, these older guys that are still no, he's not around, but they're still around, and they're older. They got that old comedy timing. I think they're hilarious. Like Mel Brooks will always be hilarious to me.
oh yeah.
Like Mel Brooks, she doesn't get any better.
Well, Mel Brooks is still alive, isn't he?
Mel Brooks is still alive. Yes.
Although his wife is dead. His wife,
Yes. Anne Bancroft.
Anne Bancroft. That's right. And Anne Bancroft. Oh, she was just awesome.
I know these things because I'm a pop culture kid.
You know these things because you're a pop culture kid. That is so true. But Jerry Stiller was a part of the comedy duo Stiller and Mara.
Mara, yes, and
yeah.
Mara
And
was actually she was one of the teachers in your favorite movie, Fame.
She was a teacher in Fame.
Yes.
I have her autograph here somewhere.
Oh, really?
One I think back before it was called the Paley Center, which is in I guess California, but in New York they had like the Museum of Radio and Broadcast, the Television Museum, which I was a card carrying member. Because one of the cool things too is that you could go there and just like pull up any TV show or in any
Nice.
and watch it and listen to it. But in any case, they would have these forums and they would have people speak. And one time they had one focused on female stand-ups. And at the time I was doing stand-up comedy. So it was like, oh, cool. Let's go see. And again, it was just filled with all these like current named comedians. I'm pretty sure Ellen DeGeneres was there at the time, but I remember Ann Mira being on there, and that was before Ellen was like TV Ellen, when she was just like.
Yeah, I liked her when she first came out. Ellen when she first came out, but Ann Mira she was also on the Dick Van Dyke Show.
But yeah, Ann Mira, and I just thought she was awesome. She was the bee's knees, but
yeah,
pretty cool. But Jerry Stiller of Stiller and Mara, and
yes,
I think there's a whole generation that doesn't even know about like that old comedy duo. Barely knows about Seinfeld, and I think he also played. You said the King of Queens.
He was in the King of Queens, I believe. Yes, he was the father of the king, father of one of the people in King of Queens. I think the wife, and weren't they both on the Dick Van Dyke Show?
I don't know if they both appeared on the Dick Van Dyke Show. I don't know.
Where's Edwin? Ed, where are you, man? Where's Ed when you need him?
We are in desperate need of some edification.
Because we didn't do enough fact checking today.
Just call it edification.
Edification. We need some edification.
Don't know the facts. Edification.
Edification. Edification. Okay. I'm good. Okay.
Or last week we had some of that Rico Suave because Rico was helping us out.
Yeah, Rico was helping us. Yeah, where's Rico at?
So, okay, we talked about comedians. Another comedian, and I don't know if you're familiar with him, but I am. If you are a Monty Python fan, you are definitely mourning the loss of Terry Jones,
yes.
of Life of Brian, among other things.
Always look on the bright side of life.
Okay, no singing. Okay, the show only has a few rules, but that is one of them. The next comedian you have on here, I don't even heard about him.
from Saturday Night Live. I used to love him on Saturday Night Live, but Buck Henry.
Okay. Oh, yeah, yes. Buck Henry was actually a writer on Saturday Night Live,
Yes.
and he has appeared on there as a performer, but most people would know him as a writer. And I had him under the comedians because, again, like you said, I was thinking of probably like that old school kind of comedy kind of vibe that kind of goes down. Yes, they both did appear on Dick Van Dyke's show, carrying the banner. Since we do not have edification in the house tonight. Killer Rabbit, Killer Rabbit, a favorite Monty Python skit, and I'm sure everybody has their favorite Monty.
Yeah, everybody has a favorite Monty Python.
Silly Walks.
And then the last but not least in a comedian rather.
Fred Willard.
Huh?
You skipped Fred Willard.
Well, he's actually an actor. I had him actors, but I didn't know how to use
an actors list.
Yeah, I did, but I put him on there because I didn't have. I don't know how to use this list that you made the list difficult for me to use.
I made the list.
You made a graph this time, and I
made the list in Google. How can you go wrong in Google?
But you made a graph, and I couldn't figure it out. Okay, I was on a go.
It's not
today.
a graph. It's a table. It's a
table.
Okay,
well, I don't like the table, and I don't think you should do it again. If we're gonna have rules where I can't sing, we're gonna have rules where you can't do a table. How's that?
Point well made.
Okay, so the last but not least, I know there's probably other comedians you want to talk about, but the last but not least, we have Carl Reiner.
Carl
Reiner became very famous with doing the I think it was the 1,000-Year-Old Man sketch with Mel Brooks.
Yes, the 1,000-Year-Old Man.
1,000, which is very funny. I remember listening to that one time on YouTube. It's an hilarious sketch.
The sketch to watch, the 1,000-Year-Old Man. I am putting the look. See, I had these. I thought these were so cool. They're the Beats headphones, and I know you don't like them because they're Apple, because you're anti-Apple, which is why you can't get on Clubhouse. Which, okay, whatever.
Why you throw me out there like that?
Because you're so Android. I am loving these Beats, these bad boys. Anyway,
so we're gonna move on to athletes.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm still pulling up pictures, but okay. Just go ahead and move on without me. I won't have pictures.
Okay, while we still talking, because we're already down to like almost close to a half hour, and we still got a lot of this to do. So,
oh wow, okay. We'll do pictures. We'll just talk through them. Come on,
we'll talk through it. 2,000-Year-Old Man with Mel Brooks. Yes, thank you, Letta. About athletes, I put on there Rocky Johnson, and the thing that's important about Rocky Johnson was a wrestler, but the thing that's important about Rocky Johnson is that he's Dwayne Johnson's father.
Oh wow! I didn't.
He was a popular wrestler back in the 70s. Rocky Johnson was a very popular wrestler back in the 70s and 80s, I believe, and Dwayne Johnson was his son, and he encouraged. So if we didn't have Rocky Johnson, we wouldn't have The Rock.
Okay.
Because he encouraged his son to be a wrestler. So Rocky Johnson passed away this year.
Wow.
Fred Curly Neal.
Curly Globetrotters.
Curly Neal for the Globetrotters. He was a tall guy, but appearing next to the other Globetrotters, he looked a little shorter. But I used to like the way Curly would slide to the floor, and he would have the ball bouncing at a very the ball wouldn't even be moving, and he would start bouncing he had that whole trick when he started ball bouncing very low. So Curly Neal. Gail Sayers
died, and
Gail Sayers passed away.
And again, that's Gail Sayers, not Billy D. Williams. Although a lot of people know Gail Sayers from.
I didn't realize. Brian's song. I didn't realize. Gail Sayers and Brian Piccolo. Football players who had a relationship that they made a movie out of. Brian Piccolo, of course, at the end of the movie, passed away. He died. I forget what he had, leukemia or cancer or something like that.
Some form of cancer, and I can't remember. It's been so long since I've seen that movie.
Yeah, but Brian Piccolo and Gail Sayers, after he was a football star, he had been a model also. So he'd become a model, and Gail Sayers was very prominent. And I didn't realize he had passed away, but yeah.
Again, 2020 was
2020 was like the bee's knees were dying. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Um, Next we have Edward Charles Whitey Ford.
Whitey Ford was a baseball player, Hall of Fame, Yankee, and I think that's the team he played for. But like
Yes.
a lot of sports heads on this particular podcast, probably not. So even if I
Right.
get it wrong, but Whitey Ford was another athlete that we lost in 2020, and I think and again, it wasn't that we put I didn't put the list in any order. I used a couple different sources, including Internet Movie Database, who does a nice memorial reel, and we can put that in the comments after this show airs. We'll throw that in the comments,
Excuse me.
as well as CNN has a very extensive list of prominent celebrities and pop culture figures, as well as newsmakers who died in 2020. So we did use a lot of information from their list, but I kind of put it on this table, which again, if you're talking Google Docs and you don't know how to do a table, bless um my brother, but under all these different categories, and we just took a look at athletes, singers, actors, comedians. I did one category of other political figures, but there were a couple deaths I think that not just impacted their particular either sport field or career, but kind of impacted several people. We didn't
Well, well,
we talked prominent political figures. We didn't talk like newsworthy figures, because
yeah.
then we could get into the names of a bunch of people that Eric Dyson actually writes to in this his latest book, Long Time Coming, like Brianna, like George Floyd, but I'm not even going to go there. But this particular death of this particular athlete, I think, really hit people because it wasn't COVID, it wasn't old age, it was pretty sudden in a tragic accident, and that is Mamba
Kobe
Kobe.
Bryant.
Yeah.
Hashtag girl dad. Kobe Bryant. Because in an accident that he passed away, and his daughter, one of his daughters, also passed away with him. And I'm not trying to get morose here, or as a girl dad myself, with a lot of girls, and I am definitely a girl dad. Somebody said to me, with the girl dad phase came out, my friend Raisa says, "Oh yeah, you're definitely a girl dad. Like you and your girls, you're definitely a girl dad." But I can't even imagine being in a plane crash or a helicopter crash or some kind of accident like that with one of my daughters. And the fact that you know something bad is going to happen, and there's nothing you can do to stop it, and you're with your kid, that is just and it must have been terrible all around. I just don't want to get into it. But anyway, yeah, Kobe Bryant, that I think one of the things that hit us more with that death is not only was it sudden, but he had his daughter with him at the same time. So I want to move on right now because I don't want to get to, you know, we're gonna go to singers right now. Um, yeah, we're gonna go to singers.
All right, let's do the singers.
MF Doom.
What?
We're gonna go to singers.
Singers? All right.
Yes, I put MF Doom on here because we just found out.
And actually, he passed away in October, from what I'm to understand.
Yes, MF Doom passed away in October. And his family released it yesterday, or the day before yesterday. I'm putting this on. Georgia called me. My son Georgia called me because George is a huge MF Doom fan, and he called me. And goes, Dad, this is like this to me is to you like the day Prince died,
Oh
and
wow.
I'm like devastated. And I didn't realize MF Doom was actually part of a group in the '90s, in the early '90s, called KMD. And back then, his
And
name
what? Okay, I'm sorry. Go
he
ahead.
was part of KMD back in the '90s, and back then his name in KMD was Zev Love X,
Uh huh.
and his real name was Daniel DeMille, but back then his name was Kev Love, Zev Love X at KMD, and then he disappeared. His brother passed away. Something happened. He disappeared for a long while. And he got back into the rap game, and he had a mask on his face, so no one when he came back into the game, you never saw his face. Like he never appeared publicly with his face
Is there
shown
a
at
reason
all.
behind that, or
Huh?
was
No, I don't know what his reason was, but he never appeared publicly. Now, the thing about MF Doom is MF Doom, like George explained it to me, MF Doom was the rapper's rapper. So he was the guy that other rappers listened to. He wasn't. He was a more of an underground rapper. He wasn't mainstream like Kendrick. Even Kendrick is like not that mainstream, but wasn't mainstream like Lil Wayne and things like that. But he
right?
was the underground rapper that other rappers listened to, and that other rappers liked. That
Or you
not
were
the
a
main.
rapper. You
If
knew
you
his
were a
music.
rapper, you knew who MF Doom was. If you was in the music business, you knew who MF Doom was because he was just that solid. And if you listen to the song by Third Base called "The Gas Face," he's
Hmm.
in that, and his verse is like probably the best verse from The Gas Face. Matter of fact, MC Search page from um, the strongest lyricist on the planet. Yes, Letter, you're right. Or MC Search, who's from Third Base, he did a little tribute to MF Doom in his thing, this week when he died, when he heard he passed away. Next we have on this is Bill Withers.
Bill Withers. Oh man, was an amazing, just amazing singer and lyricist. And
You know what song he
the
did that I love the
first time,
best?
what was your favorite? Lovely Day? No.
Now, my favorite from him was one of my favorites from him was Grandma Hands.
Oh, Grandma's Hands. Yes.
Billy, don't you walk too fast. You might fall on that piece of grass. There might
You
be
know the
snakes
rules
there
I'm
in this
singing.
grass. Okay.
Don't act like you don't know the rules.
Okay. Betty White is the
How
next
many?
thing.
How many? How many weeks we been doing this?
I don't know.
I
Okay.
tell you, it's been about 30 weeks. 30 weeks, baby. Don't be singing.
Betty Wright is a phenomenal soul singer who was
Clean
on
up woman.
the Clean Up Woman. The Clean Up Woman.
The cleanup woman was Betty Wright. Let's see.
Bonnie Pointer from the Pointer Sisters.
The Pointer Sisters. Oh man,
Yes.
weren't
I
they?
bet you got to go on the side. Show you think check. I know you got to. Anyway, Charlie Daniels
Charlie
is
Daniels.
finding out if the devil went down to Georgia
He's probably
because
finding out right now. But anyway, um, who else?
and
We
Johnny
Oh,
Nash.
I can see clearly now. The rain has
I didn't
gone.
realize Johnny Nash had passed away.
You didn't know Johnny Nash? Johnny Nash.
No, Johnny Nash had passed away.
Yeah.
KT Olsen, Oslin.
Osland.
Who's KT? I've never heard of KT Oslin.
She
I'll
was
be
a
honest.
country singer,
Okay.
who had passed away also. And again, you started off with MF Doom and talking about rappers, and I didn't realize this, but and this was I think within the last 2 weeks too, was John Ecstasy Fletcher, he was from the group Houdini.
Yes.
So if you know anything about the rap game in the 80s, then you know about Houdini.
Now, Charlie Pride also passed away, and I didn't know he was still alive.
Well, he's not.
Well, not well when he passed away. Like my one of my housemates is a country fan, and
Uh-huh.
we're both sitting there like, what did he die a long time ago? Like we didn't realize he was still alive at the time he passed away.
Know that that Charlie Pride had. Oh wait, you thought he was already
we,
dead.
we, we thought he was already dead. We
I
didn't
tend to
know.
do that, and I tend to think, oh, they passed away already, and meanwhile, people are alive and healthy. But no, Charlie Pride did pass away, and I guess
Leonard,
many
Leonard, you play the violin.
country music folks. I love
Leonard
country
plays the
music.
violin. Leonard, you play the violin.
Wow. Okay.
All right.
Well,
We need to
no.
get you.
And again, if you're playing the violin on a song like "The Devil Went Down to Georgia," then it's not a violin; it's a fiddle.
She's right. It's a fiddle. At some point, it's not about. It's a fiddle. It's a fiddle.
All right.
Kenny Rogers,
When we talk about singers who have passed away,
Kenny Rogers is another one who passed away. And since my middle name was, I didn't have what. There was a point I didn't like Kenny Rogers, because my middle name was Roger. So Kenny Roger, I got teased a little bit sometimes.
I'm trying to put the pieces together. Okay.
Yeah, but
Anyway, Kenny
the
Rogers.
one song you did that I loved was with
What was your
Dolly.
favorite Kenny Rogers
My
song?
favorite was with him and Dolly Parton. What are we doing in love?
Not Islands in the Stream.
Yep. What are we doing in love? It's like summer and sunset. Anyway, we gotta get
Oh,
a singer.
What?
Okay.
I think The Gambler is probably the best Kenny Rogers.
Got
Huh? You don't like The Gambler?
no window, when to fold
Oh, you know what? Hey, as
when
we
to walk
take a
away.
break, again, for those of you who've gotten your Pop Culture Kid gear in the mail, please snap a picture, tag us, tag hashtag Pop Culture Kid with a K
Yes,
would be cool so that we know that you're out there. If you're watching now, tag a picture, take a
yes. Like, yeah.
Instagram of yourself and let us know if you're watching. Make
And,
sure
actually, we have a set. I
follow
think we're
us
going.
on. Hold on, Kenny. I'm
Okay, I'm
kind
sorry.
of like mid-show. Let me just do the plugs break kind of thing.
Okay.
Check out Kenny on Kenny KP Walker Jr.com and all the stuff he's doing on his webpage. You can watch us. And if you are watching us now on YouTube, we thank you for tuning in, checking us out. Consider giving us a thumbs up, a like, or subscribing to the channel so that you can follow along as we go on these pop culture journeys. And before we leave tonight, we're also going to talk with you and get some feedback in the comments to find out for our next upcoming shows what we should pop culture about. Also, if you want, you can check me out on my website and YouTube page, Year of APing Dangerously, where I am vlogging all about my first year as a middle school principal. So just stuff to check out. And now back to the list.
We want to say hi to Bruce Roberts is now listening. Bruce is in the house. Hey, Bruce, how you doing? He was a guest here.
He's a
He's
pop
a
culture
guest here.
kid
Yes.
too.
Next we have Eddie Van Halen. Passed away. Eddie Van Halen, who did he do the well, of course he was with Van Halen, and Eddie Van Halen is considered one of the greatest, one of the great rock guitarists to come around. Eddie Van Halen did some.
I'm sorry. I gotta say, not just one. I think the greatest. I mean,
well,
who is better? I mean,
come on, you got Prince, you got Hendrix,
ah,
you got
right.
Clapton. Prince, Hendrix and Clapton alone is.
Prince was like a jack of all trades. He could do a bunch of things. He could kill it on the keys. He could play the piano, but just shredding, just eruption. It's
and then you have Slash too. Slash is still out there, so
I don't know. Well,
it's kind of but Eddie Van Halen, he did do it before Michael Jackson. Did he do Beat It for Michael Jackson? Was that Slash? That was Slash that Beat It for Michael Jackson.
I think Slash was on Beat, but Eddie Van Halen did. I think he did do one of.
I think he did do something with Michael Jackson. He didn't think the song was going to be a hit at all.
Right.
But I think he did do something with Michael Jackson. And of course we have we lost the king of rock and roll, the originator of rock and roll, Little Richard, who was the originator of rock and roll.
Who was Prince before Prince, Michael before Michael, James Brown before James Brown. It was all
Little Richard, and I like the different depictions of Little Richard. I know in the movie Why Do Fools Fall in Love, that was about oh wow, what is that singer? Anyway, in that movie they depicted Little Richard.
You just brush over Why Do Fools Fall. Anyway, whatever his name was.
Whatever the guy, it was about him, but anyway, they had a depiction of Little Richard in that one, which is Why Do Fools Fall in Love? Whoever sang that. But
Frankie Lyman.
Frankie Lyman and the Teenagers.
Goodness.
But I liked the way they depicted Little Richard in that movie because they had a guy doing Little Richard, and we call them the Teenagers, and the way he would call them the Teenagers would be like, and then he was also depicted in Get Up, the James Brown movie. He was also in there, and I like the conversation that they had with the guy who played Little Richard and James Brown. Where Little Richard is telling James Brown when he started out, like, "Look, you're going to get approached by people, and people are going to come at you, and they're going to ask you what you want, and you got to let them know what you want, and you're going to have to decide what you want." And the way is, they never played on. They never played on Little Richard's sexuality, but it was always implied.
Mhm.
So it was a good thing. Let's hit
You want to do the other category?
Others. Let's do others.
Let's do others because, and again, I put others for those folks who they weren't really singers, actors, athletes, or political figures, but they are a part of pop culture. And I know two of the figures, and you know what, I'm gonna skip around here a little bit, Kenny's, because I know our time. We
Yeah.
started a few minutes late.
Yeah.
Hey, wait, Eddie Van Halen did Beat It. Slash wasn't even thought of back then, but Slash was Guns N' Roses was out in the 80s.
Yeah. Guns N' Roses. I think,
And I know Slash recorded with Michael Jackson on
yeah,
one of those
he's in a song.
songs.
So, Letta, I want you to check that. I mean, Letta, I want you to check that out because I don't know if
Yeah, she's got to get some edification because we don't have our regular fact checker Ed with
no
us
offense,
tonight.
Letta, your family. No offense, but I just want to make sure it's right before I give it to people.
All right. Well, okay. Real quick, there were two pretty famous directors who passed away this year. One directed one of my favorite movies of all time, and that is Fame, and that was Alan Parker. Another was Joel Schumacher. So again, losing a lot of really famous directors. Now, Kenny, you put some people down here at the bottom of this.
I didn't know how to use the thing, so some of these people down here are actors. So go from Joe Clark on up.
We had Joe Clark also, and that was a recent one too, just passed. And most people, again, Morgan Freeman is alive and well, but Morgan Freeman actually played Joe Clark, who was the principal of the school in Newark that the movie Stand By Me was based on, and it was a biography. Joe Clark, Principal Clark.
On the other list,
you know what? And that's what I thought. When I got to be a principal, somebody was going to give me a baseball bat. But you know what? I have yet to get a baseball bat. I mean, I thought I'd get at least one.
I will send you a baseball bat. I will send you a baseball bat. Let's go on the others list.
Wasn't who the came for. Okay. All right. So he wasn't the first person to be approached to contribute to Thriller.
Yeah.
But
let's go to the top two on our others list. Let's, because we're running out of time. Top two on the others list is the first one is Regis Philbin, who passed away. Regis Philbin, live with Regis and Kathy Lee, and live with Regis and Kelly. This guy was an actor and a host also, who was one of those guys who was deemed as one of the nice guys in entertainment that everybody liked and everybody got along.
At one point, he had like the most television or the most consecutive television show appearances.
I think when he was alive, yes.
That he had been on live TV for the most amount of years, or it was some distinction, and I don't know. You'd have to check the Guinness Book of World Records.
Yeah.
You see me with the list, and again, look at my list. See
how that's done, the graph thing, the chart. I don't like that. Just make the list out, right? No, I ain't got time for all that. Because the other way we do it, I can put notes next to it. This way, I can't put notes next to it. Okay. Right.
So then you just have this one long list, and I couldn't put it into little categories.
Well, sometimes you have to do things. So top of our list is
my shirt is backwards. I think I'll look and see if I can reverse the image on my. Go ahead with the list.
Okay, but on top of the list is Alex Trebek from Jeopardy, the host of Jeopardy. I don't know how many years Alex Trebek was the host of Jeopardy, but it was a long time. I should have that. I was busy. I was walking today, I was walking and exercising today, and I was running errands for my daughter, so I didn't have time to check and see how long Alex Trebek was the host of Jeopardy. But Alex Trebek is like a staple in your, in your weekday evenings as hosting Jeopardy. I'll take, I'll take, I'll take, I'll take, animals for 200, Alex. I'll take, things that Kenny Walker likes to say for 300, Alex. So, so Alex Trebek is one of the people who we lost in 2000. He had a long bout with cancer, and he was very brave towards the end of it. And he gave a couple of public service messages and everything. Because I remember when he first was diagnosed with the cancer, he was like, I'm going to fight this. I'm going to beat this. And I like that spirit. I like that spirit him and the door. So we're going to actors, and we have a lot of actors in here. And I'm going to go with one of the ladies. I'm going to start off with and we're talking about pop culture. Somebody who's that you don't know, that you won't know, but he's very deep into pop culture. The actors. It's Adolfo Quinones. You might know as Shabadoo from the movie Breaking and Breaking Electric Boogaloo.
Electric Boogaloo.
Shabadoo. It's Shabadoo. Is it no? Is it no? Is it rule against singing? But is any rule against dancing? Because I'm breaking. I'm going to say hi to Vince Butler. Vince Butler's in the house. And everybody knows, I don't have to do this because people who know me know that I'm a very good dancer. I'm one of the best. So, But Shabadoo he passed away recently. And another one who recently kind of hurt my feelings, Dawn Wells from Gilligan's Island. I don't care what you say about Gilligan's Island. Ginger was not the hot one on Gilligan's Island. It was always Marianne. There was no one else but Marianne who was the hot one on Gilligan's Island.
Always about Marianne.
It was always about Marianne. She was the hot one on Gilligan's Island. Brian Dennehy.
Oh,
Brian
my favorite movie that he did had to be FX. I love that movie. I mean, I know he did a lot of movies and TV shows, but FX.
And most people are going to say Cocoon.
Most people are going to say what?
Cocoon.
Oh, Cocoon. I mean, Cocoon.
When you say Brian Dennehy, one of the movies I'm going to say is Silverado.
Silverado. Yeah.
Yeah, Silverado's one of the movies I'm going to say. Here's another one that kind of hit home. David Lander, Squiggy.
Oh, Lenny and Squiggy.
Squiggy. Everybody, look, let me tell you something. If you didn't watch Happy Days, followed by Lenny and Squiggy on a Tuesday night, when you went to school the next day on Wednesday, you had nothing to talk about with everybody else.
Because you didn't watch.
You didn't watch Happy Days and Laverne and Shirley. If you that was necessary for you to go to school. Like, you might as well call in sick on Wednesday and not even go to school. Tell your mom you're sick. You had nothing to talk about with everybody else. Tiny Lester passed away.
Oh, Tiny Lester. And I think didn't he start off as like a wrestler or
Yeah, I believe he did. And I don't have all my facts together on this. But look, I'm saying Tiny Lester, and you guys are like, who? I'm going to say one word, and then you're going to know. Debo.
And then you'll know.
Yo, what you got on my 40? You just got $200. I want to spend Rev's money. I want to spend Rev's money. You got my 40, man. The line he does in that movie on Friday that I love is when he says,
"You're going to wind up going down." Quote, no, the
whole. The line does real quick. The line does in Friday that I love is when he tells Craig, like I'm gonna beat you like you. I'm gonna go ahead and step up and get beat down like your father did when he was your age. And it was like, yo, that's deep. That's a pun. Like that's gonna get you like that's how you get in the fight. I'm beat you down like your father used to get beat down too. Like okay, you know what? Let's go. Let's just do it.
It's going down now.
Um, I want to say, oh, John Saxton also passed away.
Okay.
John
Did
Saxton
you
was.
add him to the list, or because
I
I
had
didn't
him
see him?
on the other list. He was on the bottom. I didn't know how to do the list that you had made for him. John Saxon was known for a lot of movies, but the one I loved him for, he was in the last Bruce Lee movie, Return of the Dragon.
Ah,
He was in the very last Bruce Lee movie, him and Jim Kelly. Um, I would throw one in there that nobody knows about. His name is Stan Kirsch, and I love Stan Kirsch because he was the character in the Highlander. He was what was his name in the Highlander? I forgot his name in the Highlander. But anyway, he was in the Highlander TV show, and he was very good. We're gonna go up the list here.
okay.
Anybody else want to hit?
Uh, I'm sorry. What?
Anybody want to hit? Because I'm skipping.
Okay, yeah, I'm just going through the list. I know Anne Rankin was one that passed away, and she was a more of a, and Nick Cordero was more Broadway actors, and I know most of our list features pop culture and movie and television that you would remember. But Anne Rankin also was in the movie All That Jazz. So if um,
What was she in all that jazz?
she was the girlfriend. I can't even think of her character's name now, and All That Jazz
Oh, she was a girlfriend and all that jazz. I loved her in that.
was
She passed away.
she passed away, yes.
Oh, and she was beautiful in it. She was
And
a very
again,
beautiful woman in that movie.
I didn't put him on the list because I didn't think a lot of people would know him in terms of pop culture, but Nick Cordero, and I think a lot of people, even though he's a Broadway actor, a lot of people knew about him because he was one of the first celebrities, I guess, not first, but early in the COVID
Yeah, yeah, that died of COVID. Actually,
that
yes,
died, and that was chronicalized,
yes,
and
yes,
that he wasn't terribly old, which I think kind of took a lot of people aback. But this particular death, I think, took a lot of people back just because of the circumstances for the Glee star Naya Rivera, who
yes,
passed away, and was I think, and again, this kind of like the Kobe Bryant, just the thought of a parent of especially of young children, um you know not being there. Her 4-year-old son was found in the boat, and she evidently had drowned in this lake. And yeah, just kind of horrible
yeah.
that she had went missing for a few days and then was presumed dead. And I'm sorry, I'm bringing this down, but as I was a bit of a Gleek back in the day. I was a Glee fan and a bit of a Gleek.
I never
And I
got into Glee.
remember when the lead actor was found dead and of an
I
overdose,
never, I never got
and how
into
that
Glee.
kind of hit me. And I actually felt bad. You've never watched the episode of Glee?
I watched some because the girls like Glee. My girls like Glee. I think Mackenzie likes Glee, and I've never really. I've watched one or two parts of it because she's, watch this, Dad. Watch this,
She's a
Dad.
Gleek.
But I've
Glee
never.
fans, we were Gleeks. Any Gleeks out there? Gleeks in the house?
Glee, is that what they call them? Glee fans? They call them Gleeks.
I guess so. Gleeks. I
You
think
want?
we
You
were.
want
It's kind of like X Files fans. We were X Files, but we spell files Phil. Like, anyway.
that's kind of like a. Never mind. Okay.
Okay, I'll buzz myself on that one. Yes,
Punch yourself.
yes, you're a nerd. Thank you. All right.
Punch yourself on that.
Um, some of the other people. Okay, let's hit a couple of these real fast, and then we could talk about some of the
Kirk
other ones.
Douglas.
Oh wait, you're going too fast. I wanted
Okay.
to talk Shirley. Shirley Knight was a pretty famous actress who passed away. Ian Holmes, and a lot of people, if you didn't know his early work, you probably knew him from the Hobbit movies. Paula Kelly. So if you ever watched the black exploitation film of the 70s, you probably know who Paula Kelly is. Conchita Farrell, who Now, I know she had a reoccurring role on Two and a Half Men, but she was one of those character actresses that I'm sure you know and you've seen
Yes.
everywhere. But she had a really,
She was hilarious on Two and a Half Men.
yes,
As the woman that came in and took care of the house as like the maid, I guess, or whatever. She was hilarious.
because she got all the good lines.
She got
Um,
all the yes.
another again, we lost some old school actors like Max Van Sydow, as
Yes.
well as Diana Riggs, who everybody nowadays knows from Game of Thrones. But I
Hold
honestly,
on, hold on.
I've never watched an episode of Game of Thrones.
No,
So
I've
when
never,
you tell me
I've never
Diana
watched it.
Riggs, my
Yeah,
mind goes back
back to Adventures. Yes,
the
but
Avengers.
you can't say Max Van Sydow
Yeah.
without mentioning Flash. Without mentioning Flash Gordon.
Hmm?
You
Oh,
can't say Max Van Sydow without mentioning Flash Gordon.
yes, Flash Gordon.
Flash Gordon. Like you can't like that was such a tongue in cheek movie that he was in. That was just so like
Oh, there's a
ah,
couple. There's a couple others we've forgotten, and I mean, Wilford Brimley, who, if not a pop culture icon, just as an actor, just for his oatmeal commercials. Come on, Wilford Brimley, and also you can't talk pop culture and not remember Ken Osmond,
husband.
who played Eddie Haskell.
Oh yes,
And
that's right.
again, if you don't know who Eddie Haskell is, you're probably too young to even be watching this show because
Eddie
I
Haskell was the
believe it's a
original.
humor reference
Eddie Haskell was the original suck up friend.
that has since been a part of um
Yes.
every single
Eddie Haskell was the original suck up friend. Like,
sitcom
Mrs.
formula.
Mrs. Cleaver, you sure do look nice. Like,
So everybody had to have Eddie Haskell. All right, who else is on our
so
list? We're
next
gonna
on the list is a very one that hit pop culture, and it was very sudden
well,
because
no,
it's
we're gonna do the other ones, Kenny, and save that one for last.
okay.
All right. So
Jeanette, we're going to the Good Times.
uh Good Times.
Jeanette Du Bois.
Actress, not just actress, but also singer and
Yes,
songwriter, because she did the theme song for
for
not
the
the TV
Jeffersons.
show she did, but for the Jeffersons, Moving On Up. And
I,
if you
I,
know that, you know Janae Dubois.
yeah, Jeanette Du Bois. Now I know everybody knows as Walona.
Alona.
Walona Good Times. And I remember as Walona Good Times. But the funniest thing I think she ever did was I'm gonna get you sucker.
That was a good movie. I'm gonna get
And
you.
her and I'm gonna get you sucker is like it's just like the line she was saying, like, it's just great. I loved her. As a matter of fact, I needed a good laugh one night and I flipping through Amazon. I'm gonna get you sucker. Boom, I'm gonna get you sucker. And I sat there and laughed and cheered myself up and then I went and did the open mic.
That was
So
on Amazon Prime,
I
or
believe so. I believe
oh,
so.
oh, sweet. All right.
I believe so.
Then
Um,
I can fire up the Fire Stick and get that one. I've been doing a lot of Fire Stick. I've kind of given up on regular TV, especially since we lost NBC and we don't get that channel anymore.
oh
I'm just
really?
like done with cable just about. I think I only watch one or two things on cable. But
Oh,
anyway,
if you get a chance and while you watch that, watch Prom. I like Prom. Prom was pretty good. You would like
Prom.
Prom. You
Oh, that's on Amazon?
yes, no, that's on Netflix.
Oh, Netflix. Okay, yeah. All right.
Watch Prom. Prom is good. You'll like Prom. But next we
Prom
had
looked promising. I have to tell you, I saw the previews. And it is a musical
it's a,
or
it's a musical. It's a musical. Um,
Oh, you know what? I think everybody, after seeing "I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker," everybody wanted the theme song when they walk down the street.
yes, everybody needs a theme song when you walk down the street. Like that's my theme music. Like
I got a theme song. All right. Let's see our next
hey
celebrity,
chat,
Tony
chat.
Tony, and again,
Who
uh,
these guys? Oh,
Preston.
these guys? That's my theme music. And then all of a sudden, KRS-One starts rapping. It's like, ah. Next we had Kelly Preston.
Kelly Preston, who to me, and again, I know she's done other movies and that she's an actress more than just John Travolta's wife, but I
Yes.
always think of her in the movie Jerry Maguire, because she played, I guess, Jerry Maguire's girlfriend at the very beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Before he wrote his mission
And
statement.
she's the one that beat Jerry Maguire's behind when he
Right.
tried to break up with her.
Punched him and yeah, that knocked all his lights out.
Yeah. And
And
she's the one at the beginning of the scene where they were in bed. Don't stop! Whoa, 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 whoa. And he's like looking at her while she's like, don't stop, don't stop. And she's like going all over the top with it. But I remember Kelly Preston from actually a family movie, um, Sky High.
oh, Sky High. Yeah, I
Yes,
remember that movie.
Sky
You're right.
High.
You're right. You're right.
So,
And
cousin Edward is watching.
all right.
Edward is watching. I haven't had. I
Edwin,
haven't heard from Lisa. I guess Lisa's not in tonight. Um, Olivia de
I guess we
Havilland.
didn't get our stuff in the mail yet.
Yeah,
She'll be
yeah.
back.
Her and Ed are boycotting until they get the stuff. They get something in the mail.
Her and Rick, they'll just boycott
Yeah,
so they
yeah,
get their stuff in the
boycott.
mail. All right, all right. But again, once you get your stuff, we need you to take a picture of it in your gear and
I'm gonna
post
take a
it on
picture. I'm gonna take a
Instagram
picture
or
in my
Facebook.
shirt. I'm gonna take a
Hashtag
picture
pop
in my
culture.
shirt and my jacket, and I'm put it on the Facebook site.
You need to Sky High is one of Letta's favorite movies of all
Yes, Sky
time.
High,
That's pretty
yes.
cool. But Olivia de
The
Havilland, I
Havilland.
think she died early in the year, and I remember because I think she was the last cast member, or at least major cast
Oh,
member
Going to
from
Win
Boston
that passed
when
away.
passed
Yes.
away, and she was 104 at the time, which
Wow.
was just
Wow.
snaps.
It's a very long
You
life.
go,
It's
girl,
very long.
living your best life, Olivia de
Yes, to
Havilland.
De Havilland. A lot of good stories from Going with the Wind, and I like to read about the stories. I was just reading the story about Wizard of Oz, and I like to read the stories about behind the scenes on what was going on about those times. I was just reading the story too about some articles too about the movie musical that I love from back in those days called On the Town with Frank Sinatra
Ah,
and
yeah,
um, and um,
Gene
and Gene
Kelly.
Kelly. And when you read those behind the scenes stories about things that went on that day and those days, like in On the Town, they had to beg Mayor um, um, to film some of the scenes in New York.
Oh wow.
And the problem with filming scenes in New York is at the time Frank Sinatra was so popular as a pop star back then that they had people crowding around them and during on the town. They didn't show up in limousines; they showed up in regular taxis
Mm,
because they didn't want to draw attention to the fact that they had Frank Sinatra with them because that made filming difficult in New York.
right.
And back to, and when you get behind the scenes stories like Going with the Wind, one of the behind the scenes stories of Going with the Wind is that Clark Gable was actually mixed, and nobody knew he was mixed.
Mm,
And he, on the set of Going with the Wind, he made a big to do about the fact that there was segregated bathrooms, and he wouldn't work unless they desegregated the bathrooms.
oh
Like
wow.
he's like, yeah, I'm not having all
Oh,
this.
you know
And
what?
it also a big deal about Hattie McDowell not being able to come in to the after party and stuff like that. He made a big deal about her not being invited to these things and not being coming to these things. He was like Clark Gable was very like vocal about like I think if Clark Gable was around today, he probably would have been like a Black Lives Matter type of guy because he was like she's not coming to like wait a minute she in the awards like she has to sit outside like I'm not having that like he was very vocal about it but during the times there were things he was vocal about that he couldn't do anything about anyway and that was just it but he was able to put desegregated bathrooms on the set of Going with the Wind.
Okay, so that's pretty cool. And you know what? When you talked about bathrooms, I realized there was somebody, and I just want to come back to it really quickly. That was in the other category that we didn't talk about. That I wanted to make sure that we did make mention of, because when you talked about the bathrooms, I thought about the bathroom scene in the movie Hidden Figures, and that was the death of Katherine Johnson, who also passed away in
Oh
2020,
yes,
and
yes.
she was one of the scientists, mathematicians, Black Girl Magic that
Magic.
was part of the NASA space program, as well as the
I
movie
was matter of fact.
Teachers that actually got to tell their story. Because I feel like I've been um, kind of like gypped as a student being raised in the school system in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and it takes me being in my 50s to watch a movie to find out about this history of Katherine Johnson. And even though from even alongside school system where we were exposed to a lot of information about Black history that I don't think every school student is even exposed to, that this was a story that I don't think was shared enough, or at least not in my consciousness. So I am just thankful that that story was shared and that she got to see that in her lifetime. But yeah,
Yeah,
Katherine Johnson, I wanted to make
Kevin
sure I
Johnson.
mentioned
Yes.
her because I
Very
just
very proud of it. Hidden Figures, which is a very good movie. I loved Hidden Figures.
Hidden Figures was awesome. Did you
Hidden
take the
Figures was
girls to see
awesome.
Hidden Figures?
A lot of I'm sorry.
Did you take
Yes,
the girls to see Hidden
girls.
Figures?
All three of the girls, myself, my friend Kamini, and her daughter. So
Wow.
I'm at Hidden Figures. I'm watching Hidden Figures with like five females. It's like me, my friend Kamini, her daughter, Ariana, Kiana, Mackenzie, and Olivia. All so I'm the only guy in a group of women seeing Hidden Figures because I wanted my daughter to see it, and Kamini wanted to see it, and she wanted her daughter to see it. So we took our kids to see Hidden Figures, and it was a great night, and it was a great time, and it was just an awesome movie.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, Hidden Figures,
Uh,
and someone who passed away. Also, too, do we hit Fred Willard?
I think we did hit Fred. Oh no, you know what? I had them in comedians, but you said
Yeah,
for actors, and I'm sorry. So let me take Kirk Douglas off of there because Willard obviously is not Spartacus.
yeah.
Um, Fred Willard. What would you say was his most famous role?
Oh, I think most people are going to remember him from Roseanne.
Roseanne. Okay.
I think most people are going to remember him from Roseanne, but Fred Willis does so many countless things. And what was that show? He was part of a show in the
Wasn't he on
80s.
Mama's Family or? Hmm?
No, he wasn't on Mama's Family, I don't think. He was on Roseanne for the longest time. And I think he was in a show. Wasn't he on a show in the 80s? It was kind of like a variety show. It was kind of like
Was it Carol Burnett show?
no, it was kind of like oh my God. What was the
Um,
show he was on?
that's amazing, or
That's
that's
amazing.
incredible.
That's
Was it
incredible.
That's Incredible?
Yeah, that's incredible. He was on That's Incredible.
That's incredible. Gosh, what I remember that. I
That's
just pulling that
incredible.
from the. You know what I miss that they don't do anymore?
What
I used to love Battle of the Network Stars.
I love Battle of the
Why don't
Stars.
they do Battle of the Network
Love
Stars
it. And
anymore?
you know, there's a very classic moment in Battle of the Network Stars that I loved. And that was when William Conrad challenged Gabe Kaplan to a foot race because
Ah,
William Conrad was very macho and he
and he
thought
just knew he was gonna
knew he was going to win this foot race, and Gabe Kaplan smoked his behind. I
sweet.
remember that, like Gabe Kaplan smoked him, and it was like, and William Conrad was like, he was the guy who did the commercial, like, put the battery on his
Battery
shoulder,
on his shoulder, and
knock
I
it off. I dare you, come on,
dare
knock it
you.
off. Gabe Kaplan showed up and knocked it off. What you
Yeah,
gonna do?
what you gonna do?
But they
I
did try
used
to
to
do
love
it
me some Battle of the Network
a
Stars.
few years ago. They did try to do a battle of network stars with newer stars a few
It
years
didn't.
ago,
Yeah,
and it just didn't feel the same. It just wasn't the
it
same.
was.
It
And
just
you
wasn't
know what?
the
I
same.
think what made that, I guess, click is because, well, again, I think in the 70s and 80s, more people, we didn't have as many choices. So, you know what? You had network stars. So you knew like all those stars on ABC, like we were talking earlier about Happy Days and Laverne and Shirley, and even when NBC had its little Thursday night block. But again, there were some shows I don't know. You watch more of those shows, and we didn't have a thousand networks and YouTube and the internet and everything else competing. So, yeah, you couldn't do a network stars because you got too many networks.
Yeah, you got to be that one. You got to
It
be.
would go on
Yeah.
forever and ever.
Now,
Um,
now you had okay. Now moving on, we had because we run out of time here.
okay,
We had
we're
Kirk
out of
Douglas.
time. We're way over
You
time,
were
but
way over time. That's
yeah,
okay.
it's the
We're
in
going
memoriam
on.
show.
We're having
But
fun. We're going on.
I am Spartacus,
I am Spartacus. Kirk Douglas.
and he
You
was
know,
101 or
yeah, he was
103.
right. Yeah, he lives in a very ripe old age. Kirk Douglas. Of course, that's for those who don't know who Kirk Douglas is Mike Douglas's father.
Mhm.
And even Mike Douglas is getting kind of like, people don't know where he is too much, but Kirk Douglas and Mike
I'll
Douglas,
never tell.
yeah.
I love
And
it. It's not
I
my
guess
favorite
yeah,
Kirk
I
Douglas
guess
movie,
I
but I
guess the
do like
next
that movie.
I guess the next person we have is Sean Connery.
Ah, yes. The Okay,
DJ.
you know what? I'll debate anybody on the whole Batman thing. Who's the best Batman? Psh, that's not important. But if you need to know who the best 007 is, period, bar none, in the story, Sean Connery.
Let us know.
I
Let
don't
us
you
know.
start Timothy Dalton me. Don't
James,
Timothy Dalton me. I don't want to hear about Pierce Bronson. I don't. Yeah, yeah.
no, Pierce Bronson wasn't. I
Was it
like Pierce
Charles? What's
Bronson.
that guy's name?
I,
Craig.
Craig.
Daniel Craig. Oh, he's pretty, but he is not
Well,
Sean
I heard that
Connery.
Daniel Craig James Bonds are pretty good. Is what I have to watch them.
103,
Pierce
yeah.
Bronson, I was turned off by Pierce Bronson. I seen James Bond movie with Pierce Bronson, and he had his tuxedo on.
Hmm.
He went to this big battle, and he was in a tank, and he jumped out of the tank in a tuxedo, and he was perfectly clean, and I just had to turn it off. I just had
You didn't buy it. You didn't buy the premise.
no, I didn't.
That's
It was
because
like
Sean
he
Connery
took
was
the tank
the
and Sean
best
Connery
James
was the
Bond,
coolest
bar
guy.
none.
Was the
007.
coolest 007 you'll ever get. How about Roger Moore? Was Roger Moore coming in the
No,
second? No, no Roger Moore. Okay,
sorry. Roger Moore,
okay.
faux 007. And there was some other guy in there in between, too.
Yeah,
Not Sean Connery. Sean
okay.
just had, I don't know, just there was something about him. It's like, right?
Well,
The one and only
you know
007. And,
it's
oh, The Rock. He was good in The Rock.
yeah, he was good in The Rock. He's good in a lot of different things. He was good
Yeah.
in The Rock. He did a bit part. He did a big cameo in Robin Hood Prince of Thieves with where he played the king at the end. Sean Connery was a good actor all around. He was one of those guys who, after doing 007, he was one of those guys you were putting something, and if you wanted a good actor, and before he passed away, he was pretty much retired.
Hmm.
But Sean Connery was all around a good actor. He did a movie with what was that movie he did with Wesley
Night.
Snipes? He did a movie with Wesley Snipes that he was really good in. Um, oh man, what was that movie he did with Wesley Snipes?
All right.
Somebody look at the movie.
We don't have
Your
edification.
edification.
Edification is the official term for
I'm gonna
fact
text
checking
Ed.
on
I'm
the
gonna text
Kathy and
Ed.
Kenny Explain Pop Culture show.
I'm gonna text Ed.
But
Know
can
that
I
we
tell
have
you
a
what
term.
one of my favorite Sean Connery movies
What?
is? And it's a very small movie, and not a whole lot of people have seen it or know it. But if you get a chance to see this movie, it has an ensemble cast. It is awesome. It should be on your list of movies that I've given you to watch. One is Stranger Than Fiction. The other one is this Sean Connery movie called Playing by Heart. Playing by Heart.
That's the first time I've heard of this movie. Plain by Heart.
Playing by Heart. I don't
Plain.
know if it's on Netflix. We got to look that up.
I'm going to look
Playing
it up.
by Heart.
Look it up.
And
Look it up on my
him
resume
and
today.
Jenna Rollins are in scenes together. There are a couple of other actors, and people you'll know everybody in this movie. Angelina Jolie, Ryan Philippe, Gillian Anderson, John Stewart. this is way before the Daily Show, Jay Moore, but the movie's called Playing by Heart. It's this small little movie. It's a series of all these different LA related stories that all kind of converge, and you'll probably figure it out before the movie's over how they all connect. But it is just a really cute movie, and the guy who wrote it, I don't think he wrote and directed the movie, and I don't think he's ever directed anything else. But Jenna Rollins and Sean Connery just have these cool, awesome, like just back and forth lines that they just do effortlessly. And oh, he won Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor, GTO in the
Yes,
house on
Untouchables.
stream. Hey, check it
Untouchables
out.
was a nice movie for Sean Connery. I loved him at the time. I was so sad when they killed his character in Untouchables.
And
Like that was just like
oh, dude, you spoiler alert.
like nobody
Somebody
seen
out
them.
there who has not
Like,
seen
this
Untouchables.
like, Untouchables was like 20
Why you
years
do
old. Like
that? Huh?
there's 20 years old. Like nobody seen the Untouchables by now.
Anyway, let's go on to our last actor that we lost in 2020, and kind of like in our athletes category when we talked about Kobe Bryant and how the loss of Kobe Bryant in that plane crash or helicopter crash kind of rocked not just the sports world but the the world in general. I think the loss of this actor who died not because of the COVID or the pandemic, but who had been suffering in silence that folks didn't realize. Um, so that when he finally succumbed to cancer, I think it just kind of rocked a community as we were just getting to know this actor and his work, and that in such a short amount of time he came on the scene and did such brilliant work, and that is Chadwick Boseman, Takala, uh, Wakanda Forever.
Kind of forever.
And man, I think people were really,
I'm
really
just, I'm just feeling, I'm just feeling a little clip, just like talking about this right now, thinking about it. This guy was a man among men, a very gentleman man. He's one of those guys in Hollywood that no one has a bad thing to say about him. Um, I remember it was when he passed away. One of the movies he did, what was that Spike Lee movie he did for Netflix? The Five Brothers or the Five. Anyway, the movie he did for Netflix, the Spike Lee joint that Spike Lee did for Netflix about the army guys that he was in. One of the men said, like, his wife was very excited about, him working with Chad Bosman, and he said, what was it like working with him? And he said, and at the time he said, it's not he's cool and all, but he's very pampered, and he didn't realize they were in the heat of the jungle at the time they filmed. They filmed on location, and they did film in Vietnam, and they were in the heat of the jungle and everything, the difficult conditions. And this man did this movie. If it was the Five Bloods, that's what it was, the Five Bloods,
bullets. Okay,
and
I'm trying to look it up.
on Netflix, and it was about these guys going back to Vietnam after the war to find something. They found going to find the body of their commander, and plus they hidden some gold there. And Chadwick Boseman was the
Oh
commander.
wait,
That
stop because you're about to spoil alert. So
okay, I'm sorry, but in any event, they did this in the jungle, and Chadwick Boseman was there, and the guy said, he told his wife, he's very like he's got a lot of people around him, and he's very pampered. He didn't really. He felt bad about it after the fact of saying that when he found out he passed away. He didn't realize while they were filming the movie, this man had cancer, and he knew he had cancer, but he still went through these horrible conditions to do this movie. That's the kind of guy he was, because a lot of the actors who were on the Avengers, because he did the Avengers Civil War, he did Black Panther, he did Avengers Infinity War and Avengers
in game.
Endgame, and none of those guys knew that he was fighting cancer at the same time.
Wow.
Like nobody knew. Like he was very private with it. He didn't tell anybody. The last couple of movies he did. Now, the last movie he performed in was a Netflix thing. Ma
Ma
Rainey's
Rainey's Black
Black
Bottom.
Bottom. He was phenomenal in this movie. I'm saying phenomenal
Wow.
in this movie, and that was the last thing that he filmed. And if he doesn't get a posthumous award for his performance in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, something's wrong.
Something's wrong.
Something is wrong. Something like like the end of
I think I'm the only one in our family who hasn't seen it yet.
yeah, you haven't seen it yet.
I still haven't seen it.
You
But
have got to
it's
see
on
it.
my list.
It's
I
like
will
the end of
watch
it just for Al Pacino says that something really wrong here. Something's really wrong here.
But
But
just for him to have again, not a ton of movie credits, but some of the credits that he had amassed, he just played these iconic figures, getting to play like James Brown and Get On Up and Thurgood
yes,
Marshall
and
and
Jackie Robinson in 41,
42,
42 rather. Yeah,
41, 42, whatever it
yeah,
takes.
whatever Jackie Robinson.
42,
Yeah.
Jackie Robinson. So he got to play these iconic roles and even
Well,
King T'Challa. It's almost
yeah,
like
well, I mean, when he
I know
played,
many actors languish and wait for roles and parts and to get to do, to get to show what they can do. But here he got to show it in some really high profile performances. It was almost, I don't know, just almost as if he had a purpose. He was here for a purpose. And
when he
unfortunately,
played
here for a short time, but it was purposeful.
when he played Black Panther, and I'm a big comic book fan, as you all know.
Mhm.
I've been collecting comic books since I was 10 years old. I'm 54 now. So over 40 years I've been collecting comic books. When he played Black Panther, the studios were kind of hesitant for this movie. If you notice in this movie, they didn't put a lot of they haven't put they didn't put a lot of movies of black people in the forefront. So the merchandising, if you notice, the merchandising for the Black Panther movie wasn't as big as the merchandising for the Captain America movie, the Avengers movie, the Thor movie. The merchandising wasn't as big for the Black Panther movie because me as a comic book fan, I was looking for a lot of Black Panther gear to buy, and there was not a lot of toy merchandising done
Be
for Black.
honest, all you wanted was Black Panther sheets and Black Panther underwear.
Well, I did get the Black Panther underwear and I did get the Black Panther sheets. But there was so much merchandise that you missed up because they didn't think. Yes, I got the Black Panther sheets and Black Panther underwear.
All right, I know you would.
I'm very proud of that,
All right, bless your
girls.
heart.
Ladies, if you want to go to Wakanda, come check me out. But anyway, um, anyway,
Oh my goodness.
anyway, 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 to get a little more serious,
Oh, that
um,
comedy
um,
show, folks. I'm sorry. I know it's in memoriam, and but
yeah. Anyway,
anyway,
as I was saying though, to
shoot.
get back to my point, for him to play this character was iconic, and I remember when we first saw this character on the screen, and I remember when I was watching, because when my son always go see the movies, you have Black Panther, and he was first appeared in Civil War. You have Black Panther on the screen with the Falcon, Captain America, and the Winter Soldier. It was just like, and then when the Black Panther movie came, this is a movie that they didn't think was going to make it very big, and when it came out, the studios realized that the African American audience and the black audience in general worldwide, there's an audience there. There's an audience to tap in there that we have a say in what happens in the media. And Chadwick Boseman making this character come alive, making this character, you know, someone, he was very pivotal in black cinema and that making you believe in a hero. Wesley Snipes did a great job as Blade. The first Marvel superhero was Blade on film, and that was Wesley Snipes. He did a great job. But Chadwick Boseman, at this point, the way the cinema went, he took it to another level, and he made this believable, down to the point where you wonder what Black Panther 2 is going to be like without him.
I know.
And
Some
I think
people saying they focused on the sister, so I don't
well,
know.
I think the thing is
Well,
that
you probably would know more about the comic books, but
now the Black
we
Panther
are
2
like
more
we're
about
like
Wakanda.
30 minutes over our time. We don't go
Oh,
this
wow,
long.
we
That's
are.
why, yeah,
Okay.
that's why the viewers are dropping off. They're like, this should have long been over.
Yeah, it's over. Like these guys are still talking. Like what the
Yeah, I
hell?
know. That's because again, it's Kathy and Kenny Explain Pop Culture. We were doing our in memoriam show to the pop culture figures that we lost in 2020. We want to thank GTO Helps for hanging out with us, as well as our cousin Letta and all of you who took time out of your Saturday night to kind of hang out with us. We wanted to spend some time at the end of the show getting your ideas for upcoming shows, but we've gone on too long.
We went too long. We went way too over. So we're going to plan our upcoming shows, and we will get back to you on what they're going to be. And if you have any ideas, visit our Facebook page, send us a message, whatever you need to do. If you have some ideas for upcoming shows, if you want to be a guest on our upcoming shows, we can make that happen also. Yeah. Thank you for coming in and hanging out with us tonight.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Our cousin Letta, she knows a lot of pop culture. We got to get her on one of these
Yeah,
upcoming.
we got to get Letta on one of these
We
days.
want to thank you guys for.
Let us think of an idea of a show you want to do, and we will do it.
I'm still working to
Fetch.
bring back Fetch.
You're still working on
What
that?
happened? Fetch. Hashtag us at Pop Culture Kids. Oh,
Pop Culture Kids, hashtag fetch.
hashtag fetch.
Hashtag fetch.
Hashtag fetch. All right. Hey, that was a look back at some of the folks we lost in 2020. We are so glad that we found you and that you found us on this little place on the web to hang out with on Saturday nights and talk pop culture. I'm Kathy Walker, along with
I'm Kenny Walker.
And thank you guys so much for hanging with us.
God bless your soul and keep living. Peace.
Thank you for geeking out with Kathy and Kenny on Kathy and Kenny Explain Pop Culture.